get the cause of death. I think that it might be coming, however, it might be vague. We might hear things like homicidal trauma and non-specific homicidal trauma.
What do you think might have happened?
Could have been an overdose, and they panicked and hid her body, or because they probably didn't want to expose the relation. They're worried about exposing the relationship between him and a minor.
How are we even supposed to move on with our day after this? Because what investigators are finding about Celeste Rivas' death keeps getting more twisted the more you hear about it. It's been weeks since her body was found inside that Tesla registered to David, but now the police believe she may have actually died somewhere else entirely. They've searched the home tied to him, tested for blood evidence, and even the medical examiner's office has stepped in after finding disturbing inconsistencies during her autopsy. And here's the part that is so haunting. Despite all of that, her official cause of death is still deferred. That means the truth about what really happened to Celeste is still buried somewhere between that house, that car, and the people who last saw her alive. So yeah, this isn't just another celebrity scandal anymore. This is turning into one of the most unsettling investigations LA has seen in years. And that's exactly where things start getting intense. Because once investigators stepped inside that Hollywood Hills home tied to David, what they were looking for made it clear. This was no ordinary case. They were testing for blood evidence. That alone says a lot. When police go that far, it usually means they already have reason to believe something violent may have happened inside. They're not just looking for clues, they're looking for proof. And here's what's really chilling. The results of those forensic tests still haven't been released. That means we don't even know if something from inside that home matches what was later found in the car. But if it does, that could completely rewrite the entire timeline of this case. LAPD Commander Scott Williams told People magazine that the Tesla had been parked at the location for several weeks. He added that it is very likely Celeste had been dead for just as long before being discovered. So imagine this, a car sitting on a quiet Los Angeles street collecting dust while her family was still hoping she would come home. That image alone says everything about how badly this case has been mishandled from the start. And to make it worse, the car was only discovered after being towed, not because someone noticed a smell or called for help, but because parking enforcement tagged it. That's how Celeste's body was found. That small detail is what is breaking people right now. Because if she really was inside that car for weeks, that means at least a dozen opportunities were missed to save her or find her sooner. What's also been coming out, you guys, is how differently people around them saw this whole situation. Friends who partied with David told TMZ they honestly thought Celeste was his girlfriend. Like, no questions asked. They were shocked when the truth came out and everyone learned she was actually younger. According to multiple people in the LA music scene, David would show up to parties with her and everyone just assumed she was an older college student. Some even said she claimed to be at USC and looked to be about 19. So when the news broke about her real age, that's what made everyone pause because it changed the entire story. And here's the part that's making people even more suspicious. Because since investigators confirmed that the Tesla was registered to David, everyone's been asking the same thing. How did no one notice anything for weeks? TMZ actually broke down how Tesla's system works, and it's honestly kind of chilling when you think about it. The 2023 Model Y doesn't just rely on a key or a fob anymore. Everything runs through the Tesla app, and that app automatically sends you a push notification if your trunk stays open for more than 10 minutes, which means if someone was loading Celeste's body into that car, there is a chance David might have seen that alert pop up. Now, no one is saying for sure that he did. Maybe he didn't have notifications on, or maybe he was using a regular key card instead of the app, but it's still a hard detail to ignore. And as if that didn't raise enough questions, things got even more confusing once the medical examiner stepped in. According to the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office, Celeste's autopsy didn't give investigators any clear cause of death. Her report has officially been marked as deferred. Now, that might sound technical, but in plain English, it means the doctors couldn't figure it out, at least not yet. They finished the physical exam, but something about what they saw didn't match up with the theories going around. So now everything's on hold while they wait for toxicology results to come back. And if you know how these cases usually go, that alone is a red flag. But what's even more telling is what isn't found. The report confirmed Celeste wasn't pregnant, even though that was a rumor spreading like wildfire online in the days after her body was discovered. That one detail instantly shut down a lot of the stories that were twisting her name before the truth even came out. Still, the real mystery is what the report didn't say, how she died, and why. Of course, the LAPD released a statement through Complex saying they still can't classify this as a homicide until the cause of death is determined. They said, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has not yet determined the cause or manner of Miss Rivas Hernandez's death. As such, it remains unclear whether there is any criminal culpability beyond the concealment of her body. That phrase, beyond the concealment of her body, is chilling because it basically confirms that someone hid her. Someone knew she was gone and still chose not to say a word. And yet, even with all that, police say David isn't a suspect. Not officially, at least, but let's be real, his name is on the Tesla, the car was parked outside a home connected to him, and now there's talk of blood evidence being tested from that same property. So whether he was directly involved or not, his connection to this case is not going anywhere. And while all of that chaos keeps unfolding online, statements, theories, debates, Celeste's family has been living in a completely different reality. They have already had to do the hardest thing any parent could ever do: say goodbye. She was laid to rest at the Queen of Heaven Cemetery in Rowland Heights, California. Just a quiet service under a big white tent, surrounded by people who clearly loved her. From the photos TMZ got, you can tell that the mood was heavy. No cameras, just family trying to make sense of something that still doesn't feel real. The funeral happened on October 6th, almost 2 weeks after her body was finally released to her family. And I cannot even imagine what the weight must have felt like, knowing that your child is gone, but you can't even bring them home yet because of an investigation. And here's the thing, this wasn't some huge public memorial. It was small, almost private, because behind all the speculation, the hashtag, and the endless opinions, there was just a real family trying to grieve. And while we've already talked about how that Tesla was found abandoned, what the private investigator uncovered adds another layer of mystery. Steve Fisher, who's been following the case closely, said the car didn't just look old or dirty. It looked like it had been through something. His exact words were, "The car almost looks like it's been off-road in the desert or something." He described the wheel wells as torn up, the body covered in dust, and huge dents in the back, like it had been through a rough ride before it was left sitting there for weeks. And if that's true, then this isn't just about what happened inside the car. It's about where that car had been before anyone even found it.
It almost looks like it's been off-road out in the desert or something. It's the wheel, wells are all beat up. There's a huge dent in the back.
And if you thought things couldn't possibly get more disturbing, they somehow do. Because once you start piecing everything together, you realize this tragedy didn't just happen out of nowhere. There were signs. A classmate who used to date Celeste back in middle school spoke to TMZ, and honestly, the way he described her breaks your heart. He said she was kind, thoughtful, but clearly unhappy at home. According to him, things with her mom were tense. Lots of arguments, and every now and then she'd joke about running away or disappearing.
What is your last memory that you have of Celeste?
We were at PE, and she told me and my friend that she was running away. And she said it was because of her parents, and she was like joking about it, and she was like happy, like joking like she always was. And like it didn't seem real, cause like she was like playing around, joking about it. And the next day she wasn't at school, and like that's the last time I saw her.
At the time, it probably sounded like something every frustrated teen says, but now looking back, it feels like she was crying out for help in the only way she knew how. And that wasn't the only red flag. According to TMZ, Celeste had actually run away from home more than once in 2024, but it wasn't always a total disappearance. Security footage from a liquor store near her home in Lake Elsinore caught her walking down the street early one morning in March, wearing a black hoodie and white pants. Her family later confirmed it was her. That moment stuck with people because it showed she wasn't just threatening to leave, she really meant it. And that's what's so painful about this. It's starting to look like Celeste was trying to escape something long before any of this hit headlines. She wasn't chasing fame or drama, she probably just wanted peace. But peace is the one thing this story hadn't had since the moment her body was found. Because almost immediately after the police identified her, things around David spun out of control. And not because of new evidence. Because just days after the story went public, police showed up to David's home in Texas after a 911 call reported gunshots and a woman screaming. Officers rushed over thinking it was another emergency tied to the case, only to find silence. That's when they realized it was all fake. It was a swatting, and it happened right in the middle of one of the most sensitive investigations of the year. Body cam footage later showed officers talking to David's dad, who looked completely stunned, telling them, "Someone's messing with us." And that's exactly what it seemed like, someone intentionally trying to keep this storm alive, even if it meant putting another family in danger.
We got an address, there was a gunshot and a woman screamed. What? I'm serious, that's why we came up here like this, because and then they talked to the caller, whoever they were talking to said that there's a person. No, sir. No, sir.
And now, with the investigation barely holding together, there's only one thing left that can settle it: the final autopsy results. Because if even half of what insiders are whispering turns out to be true, then David's silence won't save him this time. Whatever the medical examiner found in that report might just be the one thing he can't come back from.